Welcome back to another Rose City Reptiles video. I'm Joey. This is Rose City Reptiles. In today's video, we're going to talk about 2 personality traits that you need to develop if you want to have success breeding tegus. Or at least it's going to help a lot along the way. All right, let's jump right into what those things are. The first personality trait that you're going to need so much when you're breeding tegus, or really any animal or reptile for that matter, the first one is patience. It's extremely important. Patience, patience, patience. These animals, they do things on their time. They make you wait for it. They really do. And the reason why I'm talking about this today is because I'm finding myself having to be very patient right now, waiting on a clutch that I can't wait to get. I mean, it's the high blacks. That female, I thought she was going to lay several days ago, but she's been holding out on me, still just building her nest every day, and my patience are being tried. You know, I'm focused on just like her and her health and making sure she's comfortable and that she likes where she's laying her eggs. But it is hard being patient, not necessarily to get the eggs, but I'm patient. It's difficult to wait to find out, you know, if they're going to be good or how many you're going to get. But like, it doesn't stop there. As soon as you get the eggs, now you put them in the incubator and you're having to wait again. You know, like breeding tegus takes so much patience, and that leads me to my next part. Okay, there's a lot of people who want to breed their tegus. Some of you guys watching this hope to breed your tegus someday. I think that's awesome. Let's do it. Let's all breed our tegus. That's cool. But there is one thing that I see people doing that in most cases is a mistake. And that is buying, let's say it's your first time, like you've never produced any tegus before, and you want to breed them, and so you go out and you buy adults. Now let me talk about some things that I've observed over the years, and maybe you guys can learn from it a bit. And like I said, like most things, whenever I'm talking to you guys, you know, it's not everything's set in stone. I'm just sharing my experiences. But I have seen people who buy adult tegus with hopes to breed them, and they've never produced any before. There's a learning curve with tegus. 1 minute, you can feel like you're the smartest tegu owner in the world, and tegus have a really special way of making you feel really dumb. And, you know, like I could have a great season one year and a bad one the next. It just, tegus are tegus. They do weird things. But to help you better understand your animal, it really helps getting them for your first ones that you plan on breeding, getting them from babies. That really, I highly suggest that. And it's not wasting much time anyways, because when you buy those adults, most likely they're not even going to breed for you right away. They're still going to take time to acclimate and to adjust to your setup, your weather, the way you feed them, getting comfortable around you. It's still going to take time, and some tegus may take several years before they breed for you, even if you buy them as adults. That can 100% happen, and it's not that uncommon. And so really, are you taking shortcuts when you're buying an adult, or are you just making it harder on yourself in the long run? Tegus grow fast, and they breed pretty young, 2 years or so. You can breed your tegus. It's not that long of a wait. I highly suggest buying a baby if it's your first tegu and you plan on breeding one day. But now what we're going to do before we get into the next point, which is extremely important, we are going to go outside and let's check out that high black female. And I'm kind of showing you some things I've done with her setup, because she just didn't seem very content. So I had to change her enclosure around to help her feel a little bit more content and more relaxed and accepting of the lay area. I'll show you what I'm talking about when we get outside. Okay, so we're outside at the high black female enclosure now. Warning, her enclosure looks weird right now. It probably looks a little bit trashy, but let me explain to you what I had to do. So in these enclosures, you know, we have these temporary hides. You guys have seen them in other videos, just those black totes with the yellow lids with the hole cut in the front. They're temporary. They're what I'm using this year, but she just didn't like it. I think it's because she's a large female, and she was just, instead of nesting, she was just scratching at the plastic on the sides. And to me, from my observation and watching her, she just didn't seem content. But I also had her in here so long, I was worried about moving her to one of these enclosures that have like the larger hides where the bottom is, you know, just the ground, because I think they like that. So I had to make a decision, you know, am I gonna move her and possibly stress her out when she's in the middle of like trying to build her nest, or am I gonna just try to leave it alone? That was another option. And the third option was modify her enclosure to kind of make it better. And so what I ended up doing, let me just pull you guys in a little bit closer here. What I ended up doing, I had this big piece of metal there, and I took her plastic tote and I took the lid off. It's just kind of laying on the side there, and I laid her tote on its side. You know, so the top is now where she can enter it. But she has this entire area underneath this piece of metal to build her nest, okay? And she's using it, and she seems way more content. So I haven't looked at her in a while, but we're just gonna peek in here. She's been working extremely hard. So let's just take a peek. Okay, so here's the inside underneath the piece of metal, and you can see she's got a massive nest here, and she also has all that hay, and she's in here right now. We don't see her. She's inside of there. She could be laying right now. Maybe not, because she's been making me wait, but this is what it looks like inside underneath the piece of metal here. So with that said, coming back to the main point, I can hear her right now scratching at the hay, but come back to the main point of just the importance of being patient. It really is a skill that you need to have when you are breeding tegus. I mean, just this season alone, let's just talk about what's going on in my mind with this season. Last year, I already had eggs at this point, but because what I think is because of the weather, you know, we've had some cooler weather this year compared to last year, and so we're just having a later season. I think we'll still end up getting lots of clutches, and I think most of these females will end up producing for us, but that's just how it is. And I have to be patient. I've got to control my mind, not to stress out too much, and just remain calm and you know, have faith that you know, the season's going to be great. I really think it will, and the animals are starting to pick up now. I mean, just last night got cold again, but that looks like it was the final, you know, chilly weather. And by cold, I mean like mid 60s to low 60s. So now we all know being patient goes hand in hand with breeding tegus. Now we're going to go inside again, and I'm going to talk to you about point number 2, which is actually, I'm going to go ahead and say that it's more important than being patient. This really covers it all, and you need to be able to do this if you want to breed your tegus. Okay, and for the next tip, so now we've talked about being patient, we talked about why that's important. The next tip is being observant. You have to be so observant. I have some females that will kill a male if I put him in there with her, but I want to breed that female. So what do I have to do? I have to observe her. I have to look for subtle changes in her behavior that let me know when she's ready to breed, when she's ovulating. That is not easy to do, especially when you have so many animals. You have to get to know them. You have to know what their baseline is. And by baseline, I mean their normal activity. What do they do when you feed them? What do they do when they're, you know, do they pace their cage? Do they not? What time do they usually wake up? How long do they usually bask for? I can answer these questions about every single animal out there. And that's probably crazy to some, but I know these animals, even the ones I just got. I spend countless numbers of hours outside doing nothing but just observing them. Well, I mean, I love doing that, and that's why I love setting up these cool enclosures and being able to watch them move around them. But more importantly, like, that is probably the most important part of my breeding season, is observing them. I mean, just the other day, just for example, Jasmine. You guys know Jasmine? I had her in there with payload. I noticed that she started climbing the walls of the cage. Okay? She started climbing the walls of the cage. What does that mean? You know, I know that's not normal for her. She doesn't typically do that. And I read that behavior as her, let's pretend there weren't walls. What would she do? She'd be getting away. Why does she want to get away? So I had to figure that out. And I'll just tell you my conclusion, what I believe. So I did. I took Jasmine. She's now in an enclosure by herself. I do not believe she's gravid. I don't think she's bred with payload at all. But I'm thinking possibly maybe the other female was gravid. And that other female might have been giving off some signs of, hey, you better back out. This is my spot. There was never any aggression between them. I could be reading it wrong, but I do know that Jasmine wanted out of that enclosure, and so I got her out. So there's been little things like that. Things like that happen every day where I have to be on top of it, and I have to know, who needs moved, who's going where, who's doing what. You have to be extremely, extremely observant. Even beyond just the breeding phase, then you move on to the laying phase. And when you're female, you have to know, when am I going to put straw in there and let her build her nest? What are some signs? Is she breathing heavy? Is she drinking extra water? Is she building a nest? Is she basking longer? Is she basking where the sun is focused more on her belly and not a different part of her body? Is she waking up early? What time does she usually wake up? There's just so many things. You guys are understanding what I'm saying. That's why that ties into the being patient part. It's important to start, if it's your first time breeding, start with a baby. That way you get to know who they are. You get to know they're normal. You get to watch them grow and you learn about them. And that is the key to breeding tegus. That's it. Breeding for tegus is natural. All you have to do to breed them is provide what they need. And in order to provide what they need, you need to be patient, you need to be observant. Okay, those are very, very important things when it comes to breeding your tegus and caring for them correctly, especially in a breeding setup, because things can go south really fast. So you've got to be around. Like, I can't just go on a trip if I want to tomorrow. There's sacrifices that need to be made. And if my family wants to come see me, they got to come out here and see me, because this is where I'm at. I'm at these cages. I'm watching these tegus. I'm spending my time over there, getting to know them. So that's what's going on with me today. She hasn't laid her eggs yet, but by golly, it has to be soon, because she is ginormous. I was hoping she was out, because whenever I started recording, she was out basking, and I'm talking about the high black female. And she is just huge. She's got a lot of eggs in there. Let's cross our fingers that they're good. It's very, very possible the next video I post is going to be us collecting her eggs. I don't see any other possibility. She better lay those eggs in the next day or two. It could be tonight. We had some rain this morning. Tegus love laying their eggs after it rains. So we will see. So make sure you subscribe and you hit those post notifications so you can be notified when we collect these tegu eggs this season, but especially, I believe, in the next video. Don't hold me to that, but I think so. We also have some exciting news about some t-shirts coming out. I'm going to save that spiel for another video. I'm really, really excited about them. I'll tell you about the vision behind the logo and everything. I put a lot of thought and a lot of work into it. Hope you guys appreciate it when you see it. But thank you so much for watching another Rose City Reptiles video. A little hybrid in between tegu talk and actually going outside and checking things out. Stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe. We got an exciting video coming soon. Hopefully. Yeah. All right. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.